Welcome back, everyone. It's April 22nd, 2020. I'm Jerry Holland. Here are my thoughts from Costa Rica. Not a lot's changed in the crypto market. Gold got a scooch going north. Nothing wrong with that. What I wanted to bring attention to is like yesterday I talked about stable coins and the accumulation of stable coins on exchanges for the purposes of possible deployment into the crypto space. Here's a tweet from Fiat Leak yesterday, kind of reinforcing that. And what I felt was valuable to support that case is this statement here. Demand for grayscale products, ex-Bitcoin Trust, grew 114 million. Wow. That's first quarter 2020 over fourth quarter 2019. And this is an overpriced product. If you actually break it down, if you went to Grayscale's GBTC at Charles Schwab or TD Ameritrade or Fidelity, and you wanted to get a whole Bitcoin, it's going to cost you 10 grand. When you can go to the Binance and buy it for 7. It's because it's so easy for the retail investor to get exposure through that fund that they will pay the premium. It's no different than somebody in Argentina or in Venezuela paying a premium for a digital asset. It's about access, not about circulating supply. It's about access. I wanted to transition to this wonderful article from Brianne Madigan of Ripple. This is dated April 20th. And she goes into talking about liquidity, literally its definition, what it does, how it works from traditional markets. And she comes from that, and I'm glad that she does. I wanted to bring your attention to this particular closing statement that she made. Basically stating, more simply stated, it is continuous utility that will foster liquidity depth and market health around XRP. Wow. The more value transfer problems that it helps to solve and payment frictions it helps to reduce, the more diverse and efficient the adoption of XRP as a global payment asset will become. Inroads have been made. We get bits and pieces of new players coming onto the scene. The one that stands out most recently, of course, is the Bank of America. It would not shock me one bit. Matter of fact, I kind of expect it. Bank of America to announce an ODL corridor. Most likely it'll be an existing corridor. I don't believe Bank of America will take the US dollar and open up a new corridor. So it'll probably be something like Mexico. They're a very prominent trading partner with the US. And if it isn't Mexico, it'd probably be Canada. But I'm thinking Mexico. Already got an existing corridor going on. We have the whole BitSo relationship there. I think that's the one to look to. How this has relevance and why I really have kind of been stating this right now is I see in the digital asset space a tremendous amount of last mile services, products, and movement. Last mile is the client who's actually the source of the dollars and this new digital asset space, which is providing the infrastructure to move that value. Ling Zhang from Binance retweets a BZ tweet. If you have good local fiat channels and you want to open your own exchanges in your region, please email us. This is incredible because what it's saying, and this isn't new news, I'm not breaking this, I'm just bringing it up again because I believe there's tremendous amount of value here. Binance will let you white label Binance in your country or for your region. And then, for instance, I live in Latin America, population 600 plus million people, almost double the United States. Yet we have only partial exposure. Now, the players in the game, Bitso and Uphold, are the two most prominent that I'm aware of. There are several others, but it really is anybody's game. So for instance, if I had US dollars and I was looking to get into the digital asset value exchange game, whether it be to become a market maker or an exchange to the retail public or a hub for payment processing or any of these number of use cases in the digital asset space, the cost in dollars involved to get into the US market that already has the likes of Coinbase, Kraken, the Winklevoss twins Gemini, Uphold, pretty crowded field. But if I could address a market that almost doubles the United States and has only 10% of what the US has in the form of competition, Latin America is looking pretty friggin' attractive. Maybe one of you listeners out there wants to get a hold of me on Twitter and say, hey, Jerry, I'd be interested in exploring the idea of creating a Latin American digital asset exchange entity, whether it be solely for the purposes of being a market maker or a retail exchange. I mean, the possibilities are endless. And I bring that up because I like to be positive and I want to have an outlook that has an upside. Because when I look at what's going on in the traditional legacy markets, and I'm seeing headlines like a wave of oil bankruptcies. I brought this up a week ago. I talked about Whiting Petroleum going belly up. They basically filed their bankruptcy 3 days after awarding their executive team $14.6 million in bonuses. It is an insane world. It's an insane system. And digital assets have created an industry and an environment for innovative people to really be able to play the game. What it takes to play in the old legacy system, it's a pretty steep curve. The barriers to entry are huge, but not so much in the digital asset space. Hey folks, we're in crazy times. There are a lot of people that are trying to be positive and the world will go back to work May 1st and the economy will pick up and everything will be great and it'll be a really unpleasant memory. And then there are those that say, you know what? The pain, the discomfort that you've experienced here the last month and a half, just the beginning. It's really anybody's game. It's too early to predict, but there are a tremendous amount of very bright people who illustrated this for us in articulate detail. If any of you want to see that, If you go to Real Vision Finance, type in their search, is a US recession coming? The retirement crisis, those two particular Raoul Pal videos illustrate in great detail from a fundamental metrics-based perspective, probabilistic outcomes that we're watching unfold in front of our eyes right now. It's crazy times. Stay safe, stay positive. If you're going to argue or disagree, which is totally fine, let's be respectful with each other as we do it. Folks, those are my thoughts from Costa Rica. And until next time, Pura Vida.